Time street gang members use their presence of multiple members as a weapon. This bill addresses that intimidation as a weapon. Move passage.
Mr. Walle, for what purpose?
Would gentleman yield for a few questions?
Mr. Bohac, do you yield?
Be glad to yield for a few questions.
Representative Bohac, appreciate your work on this, but this is not an enhancement of a penalty. It's a creation of a new penalty then, is that?
It's a creation of a penalty.
Okay. Do you define intimidation in the statute, in your new statute?
We do. You have to, A, be a member of a criminal street gang, which has a very specific definition in criminal law. So you have to be a member of a criminal street gang.
So what is the definition now of a criminal street gang?
Let me get my glasses on and I'll tell you. Criminal street gang means 3 or more persons having common identifying sign or symbol or an identifiable leadership who continuously or regularly associate in the commission of criminal activities.
So does a prosecutor who is, obviously in criminal law you have to meet certain elements and you have to, the DA usually has to, whatever crime that is has to fit these elements. And so as it pertains to a criminal street gang, I'm assuming it's the prosecutor that has to make that determination that, hey, look, we have, as you say, 3 or more people with identifying characteristics. Is that my understanding?
That's right, and these can be found in Article 61.02 of the Criminal Combination and Criminal Street Gang Intelligence Database.
Okay.
So most large counties are required to keep a database of these individuals. Municipalities with a population of 50,000 or more, and a county with a population of 100,000 or more. So they have to keep this database of criminal street gang members.
And I'm with you in the spirit of what you're trying to do, because I think all of us can agree that we're against street gangs and the elements and the damage that they do to our streets. The only thing I'm concerned about as it pertains to this is what's the highest penalty? Is it first degree, second degree, third degree felony?
Third degree felony.
So it's
punishable by up to 2 to 10 years in prison.
Okay, so a third degree felony for doing what?
For being at the scene of a crime. Let's say one of 4 things. They're at a place where someone is inflicting bodily injury, and they're at the scene, and they're using the fact that they're at the scene as a weapon to intimidate.
So this law would be imposed on the person that's intimidating the other guys.
That's right.
The guy that's watching, because if you're watching, you're not necessarily intimidating.
The guy that's there watching. The fact that they're there as a group is a weapon in a sense that they're using.
Yeah, but what concerns me is that we would catch some kids, that are involved, that are just watching.
Well, they would have to be members of a known street gang already.
Right, but you could envision an example of, somebody who's just an acquaintance.
Well, they wouldn't be a member of a known street gang if they were just an acquaintance. The law would not apply to them.
If that person is just kind of standing around and not necessarily involved with what you're telling me is defined as a street gang, we could envision a possibility that this innocent bystander gets caught up in this web or this conspiracy, if you want to call it, to commit another crime. I'm really concerned of getting some kids involved in a third degree felony that had no business being involved and had nothing to do with a particular crime.
If they're there, they're going to be charged.
Why would we do that?
Because their mere presence serves as intimidation, as a weapon of sorts. So it's as if they're acting in furtherance of a crime.
So you're telling me is it your disposition today is that mere presence, them get caught in this web, gets them a third degree felony?
If they're a known member of a street gang, and they're a scene where there's the intent to inflict bodily injury, to damage or destroy property, or subject a person to physical confinement or restraint.
But that person watching, let's just say that even in your example, that person watching is not being intimidated. Is that
no? They
correct?
are intimidating. Their mere presence at the crime scene serves as an intimidation of the person who is receiving the bodily injury, being restrained, or whose property is being damaged.
So you're now telling us that person is going to be a third-degree felony.
That's what I'm telling you.
Okay, so
if they're a known member of a street gang.
So what is the age limit that somebody could be charged with this crime?
I guess whatever.
Right, because you can envision. Let's just say there's a 12-year-old that's intimidated. Is as your example, intimidating some 15 or 16-year-olds. I'm just trying to understand the intent of the bill, with also its practical implications when it's applied to particularly for kids that may look. I grew up in a rough neighborhood. Okay, there were plenty, and I knew a lot of the knuckleheads in the neighborhood. But if I was kind of just around and not doing anything, minding my own business, but I knew some guys that were doing some shady stuff, that could have called, I'm just one example, but there are thousands of kids around this state that could get caught up into this web of being charged with a third-degree felony.
Well, we're certainly trying to discourage gang membership, of course.
I'm with you. I'm all for that. Okay, and I'm all for that. But what I don't like is to have unintended consequences of kids getting caught up in this criminal enterprise.
Well, they would have to be a known member of a street gang in order to get caught up by this law. They would have to be a known member of a street gang, not someone who's there, some innocent third party just standing there. They would have to already be in a database as a pretty bad dude.
But you would, in essence, you would charge them first, right? Under your scenario, you would charge them, and then, the prosecutor would have to prove that these folks are part of a street gang, one, and then you have to prove intimidation. So, did you define intimidation in your statute?
Right. If they don't do something to try to talk the individual out of the crime, they're there in furtherance of the crime. If they don't take proactive action to talk the individual out of the criminal activity, they are there in furtherance of the crime.
So you're saying that if they have to retreat, they have to say, "Hey guys, we shouldn't be doing this."
That's right.
Is that what you're saying?
That's right.
I'm okay.
And I'm not a criminal lawyer.
Well, that's my concern. That's my concern, is that we're about to criminalize a whole group of young people, right? Because a lot of times they're young male, a lot of times they're young black and brown kids that just knew these guys, but now you're charging me with a third-degree felony, and I could have just been in the area.
I don't know about
right?
I don't know where the age break is.
So would somebody, let's just say somebody that's 12 years old, can be charged with this offense?
I don't believe so. That's not my understanding. You have to be able to be charged as an adult.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker,
for what purpose?
will the gentleman yield for a question?
I'll yield for a question.
Thank you, Representative Bohac.
You're welcome.
What is membership? How does the bill define membership?
I don't define it. The law defines it.
Okay. How is it defined in law?
You want me to read it to you?
Sure.
It's any two of the following: a self-admission by the individual or criminal street gang membership that is not made during a judicial proceeding, including the use of the internet or other electronic format or medium to post photographs or other documentation identifying the individual as a member of a criminal.
And sorry about that. Where's the definition found that you're reading from?
It's found in Article 61.02, Criminal Combination and Criminal Street Gang Intelligence. Oh, I'm sorry.
Members, Representative Rose raises a point of order under Rule 8, Section 1C. Point of order is sustained.